Hey, good morning, Covenant Keepers. You're back here for another episode with Brent and Lucy. Today is Wednesday, February 12th, 2020.
And it's very, very close to Valentine's Day.
Yes, this is the week of love.
So many things happening already.
You didn't sound excited when I said that. It kind of caught you off guard. Do you not think this is the week of love?
It is a week of love.
So, what are you going to do?
What do you mean? We should be doing something every day. We shouldn't be waiting for one specific day.
I know we shouldn't wait
to
for one.
show love to each other.
We don't. We show each other love every day.
I know.
But this is a day, right, that is celebrated throughout the world.
Well, to be honest, I don't really care for what Valentine's Day has become.
Why?
Things get more expensive.
So the becoming a commercial holiday is what is kind of pulling you back. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, things become more expensive. Like, I don't like the fact that you go out to dinner and dinner sometimes can be a lot more expensive than on a normal day.
Right, if you get extra appetizers. No, what you're talking about?
There's a lot more people trying to get into, have dinner. So I'm almost like down for, like, if we're gonna celebrate Valentine's Day, let's do it a couple days before, maybe a couple days after.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree with you 100%. I mean, I don't want to fight the crowds. I mean, some people might be into that. Maybe I have to go out on Valentine's Day. That's just what I want, and that's cool, man. But I mean, for me personally, yeah, I can do it either before or after, definitely. And then the whole, boxes of chocolate and all that stuff that's already been out for a month anyway. Man, I can run up to the dollar store, pick up a nice box of chocolate, one of those fake cloth roses, right? You pick up a nice card.
Who are you picking all this stuff up for?
Take you out to the park, sit on the park bench, and we can just swing away. That's what I had planned for us. Wow, you made me take my surprise out of the box. You didn't sound or look enthused when I was just sharing with you
some
pursuit.
Some may think of that as, wow, he's going to go to the dollar store.
Are you looking at okay, now see, this is what I'm talking about. In one essence, you said this so commercialized Valentine's, but when I say I get you a rose of value, right? Because it's the thought that matters. It's the thought that matters. It's not the price
I guess
tag.
Maybe sometimes you shouldn't let your wife in on all your thoughts
now
of how you're going to get there.
Wow. So what you're saying is you prefer not to know if I got a rose from the dollar store. No,
I'm more of of the experience. Like, let's go somewhere and have a new experience, an experience somewhere new. I mean, gifts are nice.
Yes.
If you wanted to get me flowers and chocolate, of course, it's nice. But I think your intentionality about planning something for us to go out and experience something different, whether it be on the specific Valentine's Day or not, is what I think, for me, matters more, because you can't, like, the memories stick with you.
For sure. Well, I definitely think that Valentine's Day, based on our culture, not the culture of the United States, has definitely been more focused on women. Like, it's about making the wife or your significant other feel more special, feel more loved, and kind of feeding into that. But, as always, these conversations that we have, I'm curious on, like, from the male perspective, like, would a guy want to celebrate Valentine's Day?
I don't know. You're a guy. Would you?
Well, I want to know your perspective. I know what I think.
Well, you're a guy. Guys are supposed to answer that. I'm not. How can I answer?
I will answer. I will give an answer to that, but I want to know, like, your thoughts, because obviously Valentine's Day is directed. Man go do for woman, make woman happy. Woman shower over man. Does that sound weird?
Yeah, it sounds very caveman-like. So for me, like, I grew up seeing my dad always pursuing my mom.
Yeah.
And when, like, the special occasions came up, like Valentine's Day or their anniversary, he was always he would go out of his way to make sure he had something for my mom. Like Valentine's Day, you'd always, like we would walk in from school and we would see the balloons and the candies and stuff because he had already gone out and made sure he had something for her. So growing up, I just thought, that was like the man thing to do. They were supposed to go get stuff for the wife to make the wife feel loved.
So as a kid, looking back on that, like what was your thoughts when you walked in and saw it? Can you remember what like your thoughts were?
I was like, wow, how awesome that they, that there's still love like that. My dad still loves my mom so much that he goes out of his way to still, even to this day, 42 years later, you'll walk in their house and you're going to see balloons, flowers, or chocolate. He goes out and he will get something for my mom.
Very interesting.
So I guess like that training growing up, that's what I expected, I guess. In my marriage is like, okay, so on these special occasions, my husband's going to go out and he's going to come back and bring back something to make me feel loved and to remind me of how much I'm appreciated and that he chose me because he loves me still, like that kind of thing.
So when your husband doesn't come back with, and I'm going to use specifics here.
Ooh.
Flowers,
Yes.
balloon, card. How does that settle with you?
Well,
How does it make you feel? Let me put
disappointed.
it there. Okay.
Disappointed and like makes me wonder, like, does he still feel the same way that he did once upon a time? Because I know we've had those moments in the past where I guess my expectations are way up here, and then you're kind of like, well,
I'm different.
Well, I know you're different. Like, of course, growing up and learning, educating yourself, of course, I know you're different, but still that expectation has been there from, very young.
Well, you said a good point because you said, and that's why I asked you, how did it make you feel? Like your response was, it was awesome because I could still see that my dad still loved my mom and he was still pursuing her. So in essence, you're still asking me that same question.
Well, it's almost like a reoccurring question that is continuously in a woman's mind is, would he still choose me after so many years? Does he still love me?
Yeah.
Am I still a priority in his mind?
Right. Yeah. And that's the question I'm constantly trying to answer. Right. But if you have your expectation, and just using this example is, balloons, chocolate, card, and I'm answering it in a different way, maybe that question that you have is not getting answered as clearly as you would like it, even though I'm trying.
Well, and I guess that's where clarifying expectations for all of these things through communication, in a relationship, that's where people can really meet each other's needs, right? If you clarify expectations, like, what are you expecting on, what do you expect on Valentine's Day? What do you expect for an anniversary? Like, what do you like? What would make you feel loved?
Well, some people think, that's going to take the romance out of it. Surprise me. But
no, you don't have to give away the surprise, but just to know what makes that person feel loved, you can kind of tailor your intentionality.
Well, no, and I think that's important. And I think it's important that we talk about it even to this day, because yes, I know candy, balloons, cards, and I like all that stuff. But after you've been married for many years, maybe you think, maybe that's getting kind of old and stale. Maybe I need to try something different. And we try, right? We'll do something different, and maybe it doesn't quite hit the mark for whatever reason. Like, I don't know, man. Maybe this week I bring home a vacuum cleaner and Happy Valentine's Day. Because it's this cool vacuum cleaner. It's like, it's got a motor. It cleans the floor. You don't have to clean the floor, and it goes back and it parks itself.
It doesn't seem as romantic.
Exactly. But in my mind, I may be thinking, man, this is the greatest thing since sliced bread. I'm helping my wife, in the essence that the house is going to be cleaned more, because that's something I've heard her say a lot. But it doesn't quite hit that sweet spot as I hoped it would.
Well, you're helping your wife. Okay, if you bought a vacuum cleaner for Valentine's Day and you're saying, I bought this because I'm going to help you clean the house, and I'm going to be using this puppy right here to help you feel loved because I'm going to do the cleaning with this thing.
So that would work that way?
Well, that's different. See, but I mean...
Would you still feel like I choose you and I love you.
I don't know. I don't know about that specific example.
All right, well, let's stop there for a second. I want to take a break because I want to come back and dive into this more because I know in our relationship, I've seen it kind of play out, and I can only assume in other relationships they've had to have some of the same moments. So we'll be right back. Are you looking to strengthen your marriage? Are there reoccurring conflicts that continue to frustrate both you and your spouse? And could you benefit from faith-based solutions for today's relationship issues? At Tampa Family Resources, that's exactly what we offer. Check out our website today, tampafamilyresources.com. Hey guys, thanks for staying with us through the break. Before we took a break, we were talking about, Valentine's Day and different gifts and how our wives, specifically this area is where we went, how they're receiving what we're trying to give them.
Well, and to be honest, I prefer, just for you to take time out to plan. Okay, today I plan to take you somewhere that we've never been to. We're going to experience something different. Like, that's awesome and exciting. Mm-hmm. And I know we've done it in the past for our anniversaries. Like, let's go somewhere different. And we always bring back like some kind of memento that we can keep and always, have something to remind ourselves of where we've been together. Not that, on that special day, you don't, go out and buy flowers or whatever.
Right.
But I think it's more of that making that memory, something different, experience something different together. I like more of the experience myself personally. But yeah, and I've noticed that about myself. And that's probably why, seeing my dad do that for my mom throughout the years, like that has always been one of those expectations that I just have of you. Mm-hmm. And I know in the past, it hasn't quite gone as I have expected. And I know because you've noticed my behavior changes. Like, you're like, okay, why do you seem frustrated? Why do you seem irritable? And I know there's been times where I haven't really been able to put my finger on it.
Right.
Like, even if we've shared, like, hey, this year, let's not buy stuff. We don't have a lot of, financial means to go buy things.
Right.
And we both agree. But still, even when that day comes, I guess, inside, I still feel like, you know what? Maybe he'll still surprise me with something. But I'm telling you, I know it's funny.
Well, it's funny because I hear this a lot from guys. Like, she told me, don't buy anything. So guess what? They always say we're not listening. I heard her, and I didn't buy anything. And oh my gosh, the walls came crumbling down. And Valentine's Day was...
Well, but see, I'm giving you some insight to where maybe that's coming from. Because I understand how that would send a wrong message. Because you're saying something, but your response is completely different than what you said.
Well, yeah.
If you don't show up, with something, and I said, hey, you don't have to buy me anything. But I don't know. I think that's just been like a training, a way for me to think about these days and these special occasions because of what I was brought up with.
Now, I know we're focusing in on Valentine's Day because it's coming up this week.
Right.
But in essence, this is an everyday thing that's happening in relationships. Mm-hmm. We all have different expectations that we're wanting our spouse to hit. Mm-hmm. But for whatever reason, maybe we're saying one thing and hoping another. Right?
Yes.
And that's where those mixed expectations come through because, from my own standpoint and from what I see from a lot of guys, like, if you say, okay, red, white, and blue, and I hear red, white, and blue, guess what you're going to get? Red, white, and blue. But if your heart's desire is something else that I don't know, you're setting us up for failure.
Well, yeah, I can see that. I can understand that. And that's why communication is so important. And deciphering each other's expectations, so to speak, is huge to understand. Like, see, now, almost 13 years later that we've been together. Anniversary.
You always say that like it's a question.
So, no. Yeah. But almost 12 years married, like, me better than you did, like my expectations, you're understanding them better.
Right.
Like, what we just said. I used to see my dad do all this stuff for my mom and all these special days.
Mm-hmm.
So inside of me, that's just something that has become part of the way I think. Like, okay, this is what my husband should be doing.
Right.
So I can feel loved.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's how I saw my dad communicate love to my mom, and she was happy. And so even though sometimes I may say, hey, we don't have to get anything,
You really don't.
it's almost like I'm trying to convince myself that, hey, you don't have to get anything. But that memory, that training is so ingrained in me that it doesn't really match up.
Right.
So
Yeah. Huh. So
I know it's weird. It's psychologically twisted.
it is twisted. But I see this with a lot of couples. I see it within our own marriage. Like, this is an everyday thing that we have expectations. Some we verbalize, some we don't verbalize, and some we verbalize in code. And, we get upset at our spouse when they don't pick up on the code.
Right.
So how do we...
Yes, and I see women do that more than men, where they are expecting them to decode their expectation.
Yes.
And maybe that's more of like if I say, hey, I would like you to pick up some chocolates for me.
Yeah.
Like, that's where you would ask, okay, I hear that you would like me to get you some chocolates. What kind of chocolates would you like? Mm-hmm. Right? It's almost like a digging deeper.
Yeah.
To make sure you understand the expectation.
Well, I get it, but where's the romance in that? Like,
well,
if I know,
this is just an example. No.
But I'm asking, I want to put it in real terms because, Valentine's Day is coming up, and I don't want to miss the ball here. Because obviously, through this little talk we're having today, I'm understanding what you're saying is you have certain expectations, and I don't want to miss them. So, how can I still clarify the expectations but not lose the romance? And I know it can be difficult to answer this question.
It's very difficult. Because I don't have to spell out exactly what you need to do.
Well, I know
that would get rid of the, romance and...
Well, okay, let's take it this way. And we're going to break this down, guys, a little bit deeper. Like, you say chocolates. I know, right?
Well, that was just an example. I didn't say you have to go get chocolates.
Okay.
That was an example.
I understand. But what I'm saying is, you say chocolates. But being a student of you and learning you over the years, when you say chocolates, I know you don't mean just chocolate.
Right.
Like, if I were to come home with a big, huge, gigantic box of milk chocolate,
no,
you will probably kick me outside and lock the door.
Well, I wouldn't do that, but I probably wouldn't have that chocolate because I don't like milk chocolate.
Then that's my point.
But see, you already know this because...
So, would there be a difference in the romance element if I bring home milk chocolate or dark chocolate? There's a difference there because it's not just chocolates.
Well, and yes, because if you bring home milk chocolate, it will communicate to me that you're not really listening to me. You don't really know me.
There it is.
You don't really know me. How could you, after 13 years, come home with a huge box of milk chocolate knowing that I don't like milk chocolate?
And that's the message that's getting conveyed a lot of times when, we're already trying to decode stuff. Mm-hmm. And then and this happens with a lot of guys, we're trying, right, to come in and answer the question, right? Do I truly love you? Do I truly choose you? Do I truly care about you? And we can still be missing the mark a little bit because we're missing some of that key elements, right, that you guys are trying to communicate to us.
Well, but see, that I like dark chocolate.
Yes.
With some type of maybe like almond or nut
Taking
in the
notes.
chocolate.
Taking notes.
Right?
Yes.
You know all this stuff already, so it's not something that I have to tell you.
Right.
You would go out and get chocolate.
Dark chocolate.
That I like.
Yes.
But for some people that have not really become a student of their spouse, mm-hmm. that they're just kind of, going with the motions, mm-hmm. going through the motions, they'll just show up. hell, I have to go pick up something for my wife because I've been at work all day and I don't want her to think I forgot. So they just grab something and bring it just to make sure they bring something. And, I guess
better something than nothing.
But for the wife, the initial response might be, oh, thank you. And then you're like, wow, he doesn't even, does he really not know that I don't like this kind of chocolate? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, that's the question, right? That's what we're asking. Through this Valentine's celebration week, does my spouse, when you're asking, that's a big question, right? Do you love me? Right? That can be answered in so many different ways. How they're answering during this time. But taking it back to Scripture in 1 Corinthians 14:1, it says, let love be your highest goal. Right? Let love be your highest goal. How do I, as a man, show you love, you being my highest priority, my highest goal? I choose you.
You know what? That has kind of become an easier thing to answer throughout the years, because when you serve me in any type of way throughout the day, as you're serving me and continuously looking to serve me, it communicates that you love me, that you care about me first before you care about yourself. And if we're doing that for each other, that's a great relationship, because you're feeding into each other. Instead of looking at yourself first, you're looking at your spouse, saying, okay, what is it that you need? Becoming that student of your spouse, asking, hey, do you like milk chocolate or dark chocolate? Do you like peanuts or no peanuts? That's becoming a student. That's wanting to know. That's being intentional. Hey, do you like this type of restaurant, or do you like this type of restaurant? That's how I feel like when you see an old couple together, that it's almost like a real smooth dance between them, their communication. That sometimes they don't even need to use words for you to see them, that there's a dance happening, that they know each other so well that it just works.
So I hear what you're saying as far as communicating love. So I guess the opposite would be, I come home with a box of chocolate, hey, here, happy Valentine's Day. And you're like, oh, great, milk chocolate. Well, you should at least be happy I brought you something home. Like I tried, right?
But did you really try?
But that happens.
I know it happens, but that would be the question then from the woman, right, to the man. Did you really try? Because I don't like this kind of chocolate.
Of course I did. If I didn't love you, I wouldn't bring you anything.
So then I would start thinking this was an afterthought. This was he basically didn't think about me first. He didn't think about planning anything for us. He basically just wanted to grab something on his way home to make sure he had something in hand before he walked in the door.
And that's the two-part dance that sometimes we can step on each other's toes and misstep, because in essence, serving each other, right? It's not necessarily just throwing something together or just whimming it. You have to be intentional and put some heart thought into it and think about it. What I'm doing to step and walk this out.
Well, and this doesn't just apply to Valentine's Day. This is like an everyday thing. You don't have to wait to Valentine's Day to start serving each other and start learning your spouse more. Ask yourself that question today. Do I really know my spouse? Do I know if I were to plan out a whole day together? Would I know how to intentionally plan a day out with things and places that I know she would really enjoy or he would really enjoy?
That's a great conversation starter for couples. Sit down, ask your spouse, if I were to plan the perfect day out, what would that look like for you?
That'd be great.
Yeah. So we encourage you guys, go do that today. Don't wait for Valentine's Day. Do it today. Go ask your spouse, if I were to plan the perfect day out for you, in your opinion, what would that look like? And then do it. Hey guys, it's Brent and Lucy from Covenant Keepers. And if you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. First of all, it's free. It will cost you no money out of pocket. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. The cool thing about it is that Anchor will distribute your podcast for you. so it can be heard from Spotify, Apple Podcast, and so many more. It's so easy, and everything you need to make a podcast you can find in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm, that's ANCHOR.FM, to get started today. So guys, we hope you enjoyed the podcast today. We hope it's been helpful. If you did like it, please go check us out at covenantkeeper4life.com. That's covenantkeeper, the number 4life.com. And get out there, guys. Stand for marriage. Stand for God. You're a covenant keeper.